What the hell are you doing here?
You lied to me.
I did what?
You lied to me. You said you weren't coming back here.
Just give me the baby.
What is this, some kind of a joke?
Come on now, give me
Trying
the
to
baby.
trap me, Logan?
Give me the
I
baby.
will not play tug of war with my son.
You give Jamie to me!
No! I have every right to him, more than you do, and I am taking him home where he belongs.
The only place you are taking him is in that bedroom. Now, where's the woman we hired to look after him?
I don't know.
Well, what'd you do, bribe her? Where is she?
Will you be quiet? You're upsetting him.
How the hell did you get in here in the first place? Breaking and entering is slightly illegal, Raven. I'm gonna have you in jail for this, you know?
Oh, you'd just love to do that, wouldn't you?
Not a bad idea.
Mr. District Attorney, can you just see the news? The DA arrests his own wife for loving her child.
I'll take my chances on that. So what's it gonna be? You turn him over to me right now, or I call the cops. I'm not joking, Raven. All right, all right.
All right!
That's more like it. Come on, Jamie. That's what. You wait here. I've got things to say to you. Come on, baby.
You forgot something. All right, let's have it. Why'd you lie to me?
That's very good. That's very good tactics. Best defense is a strong offense, right?
You told me that you were not coming back here. You said you had a meeting with Mike Carr.
Right, I was covering for Cliff Nelson, but he showed up at the last minute and took the meeting himself.
I don't believe a word of that.
I don't care what you believe. I don't owe you any explanations and no apologies, but you better have a few for me.
Why do I have to apologize for taking something that belongs to me?
Where is Miss Bates?
I don't know.
Have you got her tied up somewhere? Where is she?
I told you I don't know. I came here to see you.
To see me? Why did you come here to see me if you thought I was with Mike Carr?
Oh, all right. I came here to see my son.
To see him? That's all?
I know it was wrong of me to do what I did, but I wanted to borrow Jamie. I mean, I know I should have written a note or something, but I was in a hurry.
Oh, bet you were.
I was. I didn't want someone to come in here and take him away. I miss my little boy.
Please spare me. Don't give me that weeping mother routine.
I am his mother, and you're not his father.
I'm not his... Oh, Raven, you know better than that.
All right. Maybe I know better than that, but the world doesn't. The world thinks that Kevin Jameson is his daddy.
Well, I've got some news for you, darling. The world is about to learn differently.
Oh, yeah? How are you going to do that?
How do you think? I'm going to prove my paternity in court.
You can't do that.
I can't? Why not?
Geraldine Saxon will not allow you to tell the whole town that Kevin was not the father.
Jamie's future is a little more important to Geraldine than a dead man's reputation.
Well, what about your reputation?
Oh, what about it?
Well, isn't it going to get a little sticky when the whole town finds out you've been sleeping with another man's wife?
It's not going to be fun for any of us, but it will happen. Unless you want to make it easier.
How?
Get out of the way. Approve the adoption. That way we don't have to air our dirty bedding in public.
Oh, you'd just love that, wouldn't you? You'd just love for me to make it easy for you. Well, don't you hold your breath, Logan Swift, because you have one thing going for you right now, possession, and that is it.
That's right. And don't you forget it. And I'll hang on to that possession if it takes the United States Marines to help me. Well, hello, Miss Bates, I presume.
Yes, who are you?
I'm the child's father.
And I'm Raven Swift, the child's mother, and how dare you leave my son in there alone? Where have you been?
I just stepped out for a minute. I went to get a newspaper, and I got locked out. That's what happened. I got locked out, and then I went down to the front desk to try to get a new key, and there was a crowd there. It just took me forever.
It's a day for lies, isn't it? What is this, a full moon or something? You're fired. Get out of here.
Wait, please.
I can't wait. I have a dinner engagement. It was so lovely to see you again.
If I see you in this hotel again, Raven, I'm going to put you in jail. Believe that.
You better find yourself a new line of work.
Mr. Swift, listen to me. I was just caught for a little minute. It won't happen again.
That's for sure. You're lucky I don't press charges against you. Now get out. Get out.
Do you mind if I get my coat?
I'll get your coat for you. Give me the key.
You know, if you ask me, men shouldn't be allowed to bring up children by themselves.
Get out!
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You must be so sick of that question.
No. The only question I'm sick of is, who am I?
I told you. You're Kirk
You
Michaels.
told me a name, Emily. Name has no meaning to me, no connection at all, nothing.
Well, I hope you like fried chicken, because that's what Molly fixed.
Yeah, fried chicken. It's one of my favorites. You hear what I said? I said the fried chicken was one of my favorites. How can I think about or know I like something as silly as food, fried chicken, when I can't remember who I am or where I came from?
Look, don't worry about it. It's all going to come back to you one of these days. And when it does, I hope they're all good memories.
You know, I really owe you my life.
Oh, don't be silly. Can I get you some coffee or tea or a glass of milk?
Nothing.
Well, there must be something else I can get you.
No, there's nothing you can get me. There's something you can do for me. You can tell me more than I know.
You mean about Kirk?
Yes. So far, all you've told me is a name. Who was he, Emily? What did he mean to you? Isn't it time you told me those things?
Yes, I suppose it is. I'll tell you everything I know about how we met and how we lost each other. I can still remember the first time my mother mentioned your name. I remember it mostly because of the look on my father's face. He was just getting used to the idea of my mother bringing home all kinds of stray animals. But a young man...
How did she meet me?
Well, my mother was on the board of everything around here. It wasn't just because she liked to join things or go to charity balls or anything like that. She was just one of those people with a big, overflowing heart. So she got involved in lots of welfare projects.
I was one of her projects.
I guess so. You see, you were an orphan, and you'd been in half a dozen institutions, most of which you'd run away from. One of the officials, one of the places you were trying to get you back. But when Mother learned that you were only a year away from being of legal age, well, she thought it would be a good idea for you to come live with us.
I take it your father didn't care too much for that idea.
No. Mostly because not all of the institutions were for orphans.
They were juvenile homes.
Well, just a couple of them were. You see, you've done some things. I don't know what. Mother never went into detail, and I never wanted to ask you about it, especially after...
After what?
After we fell in love. And we were in love, Kirk. Very much in love. I know that we were young, but isn't that the most beautiful love of all? The very first one? At least it was the first for me. It didn't matter about your background, that you had no family, no money. Nothing mattered but the fact that I loved you and I wanted to be with you. But then, Daddy found out what was happening. Oh, he was horribly upset. I think he'd been afraid of something like this happening. He probably warned my mother that bringing a boy like you into the house would be risky, and now his worst fears were coming true. I tried to tell him that I loved you and that I wanted to marry you, but that only made him more upset. That was when I knew what had to happen, that the only way I was going to be happy, the only way we could be together, would be to run away.
So you're trying to tell me that you and this Kirk... You and me, we eloped?
You see, there was only one place we could go. across the state line. We weren't of legal age to marry without parental consent. But just 30 miles away, there was a justice of the peace called Newhouse. He was kind of notorious, I guess. A lot of the kids in the area went there to get married, and the laws were more lenient.
What happened? Did we ever get there?
Yes. But before we left, we made one terrible mistake. And it ruined everything. We had no money, of course. I had a very small allowance, and you had no money at all. Except for the few dollars my mother gave you from time to time. Well, when we decided to elope, you were afraid we'd starve. And I was afraid that you'd change your mind.
Emily, we won't be stealing anything. We'll just be borrowing some money, that's all.
Are you sure, Kirk? When Daddy finds out, he's going to be so angry.
He's gonna be angry when he finds out we're married, too. But there won't be anything he can do about it.
But there might be something he could do about the money. I mean, he might call the police.
And have his own daughter arrested? He'll never do that.
How can you be so sure?
Look, you'll write a note, okay? You'll write a letter and explain to him what we did, that we just borrowed some money to live on until I can get a job, and that we're planning to pay back every cent.
Okay, I guess that would be a good idea. But do you think that that will be enough?
Emily, we'd be crazy to elope without any money. Look, we'd be just a couple of bums. Is that the type of marriage you want? I've been a bum all my life. I don't want you to lead that kind of life, too. Because of me.
I know that. But just the same.
Okay. If you want to forget the whole thing, fine. I'll just go off by myself.
No, Kirk, you can't do that.
I couldn't hang around here, knowing how much I want you.
Okay. We'll do it. I'll write the note.
There's, something else you'll have to write first. Number the safe?
Dear Mom and Daddy, I know this is going to be hard for you to understand. Just as much at fault as you. I gave you the combination. I was your accomplice.
You told me that I stole something.
No, you didn't steal anything. You just borrowed it. It was, just under $2,000.
You just borrowed $2,000? What about the jewels? You said I stole your mother's jewelry.
But you would have returned it if things had gone differently.
Oh, yeah. What happened then? I mean, how did things go?
Well, we left the house about 10 minutes before Mother and Daddy got home from the movies. We took my car and drove over to Judge Newhouse's place.
Kirk Michaels, do you take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you part?
I do.
Emily Galt, do you take this man to be your lawful wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you part?
I do.
And by the power invested in me by this state, I hereby pronounce you man and wife.
Herbert, it's a state trooper's car.
State trooper, what does he want?
Mr. Newhouse, I'm looking for a couple of young kids named Emily Galt and Kirk Michaels.
Well, they were...
You're Emily Galt?
Yes, I am.
Where's Kirk Michaels?
I don't know. Look, we didn't mean to steal the money. We were just borrowing it. I swear it.
What money?
Just a minute, officer. Now, this couple's of legal age to be married, at least in the state.
That's not what I'm here for. I'm with the Highway Patrol. Miss Galt, I got some bad news for you, I'm afraid.
Kirk, I've got to find Kirk.
I think he's leaving.
Oh, no. No, he can't.
Miss Galt!
Kirk!
Miss
Kirk,
Galt!
come back! Come back!
Please, come inside. Come inside. Now, please, listen to me. Your folks were involved in an accident.
What?
They were on Route 24. I guess they were headed in this direction. To attend a wedding, maybe.
Or to try and stop it.
The roads are pretty wet. They must have skidded, headed right into a tree.
Oh, my God. Was anybody hurt?
Your father's not too badly hurt, just shaken up, bruised a little. He was the one driving the car.
My mother. What about my mother?
Door opened on impact. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. She was flung out of the car. I'm sure it happened very quickly. She didn't even hear me. Please, sit down.
My mother's dead.
Sit down.
My mother's dead.
I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. It's just been such a long time since I've told anyone that story.
It's okay. I understand. But Emily, what I don't understand is, why were you so glad to see me if I treated you so badly?
But it wasn't your fault, Kirk. You thought that trooper was there to arrest you. You didn't know anything about the accident.
What about the marriage? We were married, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
Did your father ever get it at all?
No, I wouldn't let him. I just wouldn't. We're still husband and wife.
Emily, that young man up there doesn't even remember who he is.
But I know who he is, and you know who he is.
But what if he never knows? Some of these cases can hang on for years, for life.
But that doesn't change who he is. That doesn't change how I feel about him.
Emily, he can't be the same man you loved 10 years ago.
But he is the same. He's my husband. Daddy, I never thought it would be possible for me to know all this happiness. I thought I'd die before I felt this happy again.
Yes. Yes, I can see the happiness. Like a 50-carat diamond shining in your eyes.
I'm going to go and make him a real fancy dessert.
If anything happened to me, there wouldn't be anyone to care for her. Or for her to care about.
Is it true? Am I really Kirk Michaels?
Mind if I come in?
No, not at all.
I came to tell you something. I've been talking to Emily, as I know you have too, about the past, about this house and what happened in it 10 years ago.
Yeah, she told me all about that.
Then you also know how I felt about Kirk Michaels. About the wedding, about the whole sad business.
She told me all that, too.
Maybe it's because of the way I felt about him then that I haven't been able to acknowledge the truth till now.
Truth?
I realized when I first saw you that you are Kirk Michaels. You are my daughter's husband.
Spring. It's a season of rebirth. Well, that's exactly what I've had.
Good morning.
Morning.
I hope you don't mind a change of personnel this morning. Molly's rheumatism is bothering her and my daughter's still asleep.
Sure. Just sorry that I caused you any extra trouble.
Oh, no trouble at all. I thought we'd have a cup of coffee together so we could talk.
Whatever you say.
I'm sure you've plenty to ask me after what I told you last night.
Oh, yeah, I feel like I'm in a state of shock.
Well, we all like to forget unpleasant things. They say pain is a short memory. As a doctor, I can vouch for that. There's one thing I told you last night I'd like to explain some more. It's about why I didn't admit right off the bat that you were Kirk Michaels.
How could you be sure? I mean, it was 10 years ago.
Yes, that was part of it. I wasn't sure. And it didn't seem likely to me that Kirk would ever come back to this house after what he did.
Yeah. Tell me, did he ever return the jewels and the money you stole?
No, you never returned it.
That's right. I keep forgetting. I keep thinking of Kirk Michaels as somebody else. But it's me.
Yes. Yes, it's you. All right. And even though you didn't return the money, and even though you ran away and left the girl you just married, I want you to know that I'm glad you're here. I'm very glad, Kirk. Yes, it was all those things. And even when I did recognize you, I was reluctant to admit the truth.
Of course. You were hoping I'd never come back.
Well, I knew it was something that Emily wanted more than anything in the world. But I didn't want to see Emily get mixed up with you, because what father wants to see his daughter with a homeless, vagrant boy?
Yeah, don't forget the juvenile record.
That's why I was so upset that night, when Teresa and I came home from the movies and found you and Emily gone. When we found the note that said you were going away to be married.
Well, when did you find out about the money?
Emily put that in the note. She said you're only going to borrow it until you could get a job and pay it back. But that didn't concern us. All we wanted to do was to stop the wedding, if we could. Of course, there was only one place where you could get married, Judge Newhouse, the justice of the peace across the state line. That man was notorious for things like that. Well, Teresa and I got in our car and drove after you. Nobody should ever get behind the wheel of a car in the mood I was in. And that's why it happened.
Kirk Michaels, do you take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you part?
I do.
Emily Galt, do you take this man to be your lawful wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you part?
I do.
And by the power invested in me by this state, I hereby pronounce you man and wife.
Herbert, it's a state trooper's car.
State trooper, what does he want?
Mr. Newhouse, I'm looking for a couple of young kids named Emily Galt and Kirk Michaels.
Well, they were...
You're Emily Galt?
Yes, I am.
Where's Kirk Michaels?
I don't know. Look, we didn't mean to steal the money. We were just borrowing it. I swear it.
What money?
Just a minute, officer. Now, this couple is of legal age to be married, at least in the state.
That's not what I'm here for. I'm with the Highway Patrol. Miss Galt, I got some bad news for you, I'm afraid.
Kirk, I've got to find Kirk.
I think he's leaving.
Oh, no. No, he can't.
Miss Galt!
Kirk!
Miss
Kirk,
Galt!
come back! Come back!
Please, come inside. Come inside. Now, please, listen to me. Your folks were involved in an accident.
What?
They were on Route 24. I guess they were headed in this direction. To attend a wedding, maybe.
Or to try and stop it.
The roads are pretty wet. They must have skidded, headed right into a tree.
Oh, my God. Was anybody hurt?
Your father's not too badly hurt, just shaken up, bruised a little. He was the one driving the car.
My mother. What about my mother?
Door opened on impact. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. She was flung out of the car. I'm sure it happened very quickly. She didn't even hear me. Please, please, sit down.
My mother's dead.
Sit down.
My mother's dead.
Yes. Teresa died. And for a while, for a couple of months, Emily had something else in her mind to keep it occupied. A grief that went deeper than the loss of a new husband. Something else besides grief, maybe.
You mean guilt?
Yes, it was guilt. How could it be avoided? Emily blamed herself for what happened. I blame myself just as much. I was the one behind the wheel.
What happened to Emily then?
She climbed into a shell. I suppose we both did. Emily's mourning lasted years. She wasn't just mourning her mother. She was mourning her lost husband. Her lost chance at happiness.
Well, why didn't you have the marriage annulled? It would have been a simple legal procedure.
I didn't annul the marriage because I knew it would kill Emily. It was the one thing she clung to. The fact that she was still Kirk Michaels' wife. Kirk, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Just as she clung to the idea that you would come back for her one day. I never believed that. I told her not to wait for you, to build herself a new life, but she wouldn't listen to me. And after a while, we just stopped talking about it. I don't think the name has been mentioned in this house once in the last 9 years. And now we hear almost nothing else.
Well, I don't care how many times I hear it. Still doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, we'll see what we can do about that. I have a friend, Dr. Wellman, psychiatric specialist. He practices over in Springfield. I'm going to talk to him about you. Molly, you shouldn't have climbed those stairs.
I came up to see if you were all right, Doctor. How was your breakfast, all right?
Yeah, it's fine. Molly, did you hear what Dr. Galt said?
Yes.
He said it was all right for me to be here.
He told me. Anything Dr. Galt wants is fine with me.
Well, I had a million things I wanted to do today, including going to the hospital to visit Julia, and then going over to MON and see how Geraldine is getting along.
Well, I think those are very good ideas.
They're wonderful ideas. I'm just too tired to do any of them.
Did you sleep badly?
Yeah, I'm afraid I did. Oh, Nancy, I'm sorry. It had nothing to do with the bed or the room, believe me.
Well, sometimes it's a little difficult to get accustomed to a strange place.
Yeah, I think more than that, though. It's kind of strange getting accustomed to sleeping alone. Oh, I'm sorry, I did it again. Listen, Mike, didn't you say that you had some legal papers concerning Marco's estate that you wanted me to sign?
Well, actually, I have to go over the whole thing with you, April. But I don't see any reason why I couldn't bring it home with me. However, this evening there's something else I'd like to do. I was thinking of asking Cliff Nelson to dinner. How would you feel about that, April?
What do you mean, how do I feel? Mike, look, just because I have a personal dislike for Cliff Nelson doesn't mean you can't have him or anyone else here. This happens to be your home.
Are you sure you wouldn't mind being in his company?
Don't be silly. It has nothing to do with me. Oh, wait a minute. Of course it does. I see. You are both worried about having Cliff here because of what he did to Draper.
He was the prosecuting attorney.
Yes, and you were the defense attorney. You were his opponent. He won. Frankly, Mike, I find it difficult to understand how you could invite him to your home as if nothing had happened.
Well, I guess that's another one of those Incredibles. Attorneys oppose each other in court, but they can't allow themselves to get involved in the conflict personally.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, look at the times that Logan and Draper were on opposite sides, and they were the best of friends.
Of course they were.
You know, I've heard rumors that people believe that Logan was responsible for the prosecution's case against Draper.
You don't hold a grudge against him?
No, I don't see any reason to blame any one person for what's happened.
Anyway, this may not be the best time to have someone for dinner, especially since we want to go over your mother's papers.
No, Mike. Look, we can do that any night here, or I could go down to your office one day this week.
Well, that would be fine, except my schedule at the office is rather crowded, to put it mildly.
Yeah. You have to find a replacement for Draper.
Yes. Either that or cut my client list in half.
Well, you can't do that, Mike. I'm sure there are a dozen people who would be interested in that job.
As a matter of fact, Cliff Nelson proposed himself as a possibility.
Cliff Nelson?
Yes. And he was quite serious. That's why he suggested coming over here and talking about it.
See, well, I guess you should do that. You should have him over here for dinner. I really don't wish to be rude, but I did say that I was tired, and if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to go upstairs.
Oh, you did it. Maybe you ought to send Raven a bill for legal advice.
What legal advice? I didn't advise her to do anything.
Yeah, well, somebody fed her that old chestnut about possession being 9 points of the law, that all she had to do was snatch Jamie and everything would be fine.
Wait a minute, I didn't advise her to do that. Look, she got that idea on her own.
Oh, yeah?
She didn't succeed, did she?
She came damn close. I mean, I was walking in the door when she was ready to walk out with Jamie.
I guess I did you a favor.
Favor? How do you figure that?
Well, if I hadn't have shown up, you'd have been over at Mike Carr's, and Raven and Jamie would have been over the state line, right?
The only reason I was keeping that appointment with Mike in the first place was because you broke it without telling anybody.
I had to go to the airport.
Look, go on. Get out of here. I've got things to do. I got to pick up the pieces of the cases you've dropped.
You know, you're making me sound like the worst lawyer in the world here.
Well, I don't know about the whole world, but I certainly know about this office.
Wait a minute. You know, some people happen to think I'm pretty terrific.
Oh, really? How nice for you.
Hey, Mike Carr himself congratulated me on my trial work in Draper's case. You know, he even said that there was an opening for Draper's spot.
Cliff, just shut up, please. I don't want to hear Draper's name from you again. I don't want you to talk about him. I don't want you to talk about Raven. You understand that?
Yeah, I understand that. You don't want me to talk to you about anything.
Yes. Send him in, please. Well, what are you waiting for? Go on, get out of here.
So that's where it stands, but I am not going to lose Jamie.
Well, what about the legalities of it, Logan? You know better where you stand than I do.
It's a mess. I'm not the child's legal parent. I'm the guardian pro tem.
Well, that doesn't sound too promising, does it?
No, it's not. Raven is Jamie's mother. She gets her hands on him, it's going to be real tricky getting him back. I mean, she's not kidnapping him, is she? She's not asking for ransom. Or is she?
What?
I just had this idea that maybe Raven does want something from me. Maybe she sees Jamie as a bargaining tool, something to use in a trade-off.
Well, for what?
I don't know. And I don't want to find out.
We better make sure that Raven doesn't get her hands on Jamie.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. I need advice. I need help. I can't keep him locked up forever. I'm working here 50, 60 hours a week, and now Geraldine's running WMON.
Logan, I thought you had a baby nurse.
I had a baby nurse. I fired her. She let Raven in there. She took off and left Jamie all by himself.
What are you doing in the meanwhile?
Well, I've got some temporary help. She's only temporary. It's just, I don't think your average baby nurse is a match for Raven.
Logan, that's what you need. You don't need an average nurse.
Yeah, I thought about that. I was thinking about hiring myself a great big burly policeman. The only problem with that is your average burly policeman doesn't know anything about diapers and Zweibacher, things like that.
Wait a minute. I have an idea. I have a friend might be able to help out. Belle Cobb.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's a lady cop. She retired maybe a year and a half ago, something like that. Anyway, she has some children and grandchildren, and she's a tough lady.
Well, that sounds perfect. You think she'd be interested in the job?
Well, I know she's always babysitting for her grandchildren. She loves kids. I think I understand that she kind of misses the department. It might be an opportunity for her to combine the two.
That'd be terrific. That's just what I need.
I'll see what I can do, okay? Then I'll give you a call.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm making no promises.
I
I'll just do
understand
the
that.
best I can, you know?
Okay.
By the way.
Yeah?
How's April?
Fine. She's staying over at the cars now. I'm supposed to call her later today.
Give her my best.
I'll do it.
Mr. and Mrs. Kirk Michaels.
Yes, I knew you'd think that I had an ulterior motive, and you're right. Neil, I have a patient, and as soon as I found out what was wrong with him, your name came to mind.
Yeah, I know. You can't find out what's wrong with the guy, so you've decided it must be psychosomatic.
Oh, I know what's wrong with him, all right. At least I can put a name to the disease. It's called amnesia.
Uh-oh. Better get your bill paid in advance.
No, Neil, I'm serious. It's a bad case. The man has been through some kind of terrible trauma. There's probably a head injury included. He seems to be out of any concussion problems, but he's totally blank about the past, and I mean total.
Where is this patient?
Well, at the moment, he's staying here with us.
Well, can't you get him identified?
No. Well, I think I know who he is or who he was, but right now that's not the problem I'm concerned with.
Leo, if you want me to see the man, you know I'll do it. Can you get him to Springfield? Can he be moved?
Right now, all I want to do is talk to you about him, all right? Now, don't ask me to explain. All I want to find out is whether he has any chance at all of recovering his memory. Any chance at all. All right, Neil, I'll try to make it before the end of the week. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Dr. Galt, excuse me, but is that doctor coming here?
No, he isn't, Bolly. Not right now.
Well, are you bringing that Mr. Michaels to him?
I can't do that either. He's in no shape to travel.
Excuse me for getting personal, Doctor. But this must be awful hard on you, having that man here. having him suddenly come back into Miss Emily's life like that?
It was quite a shock, all right, believe me. But if it's for the better or worse, I don't really know.
I must say, I never saw Miss Emily look so happy, but...
Yes, she's a different woman, no doubt about it. And that young man is the reason.
But if he was a thief when he was a boy, what do you think he is today? Doesn't that worry you?
I worry about a lot of things, Molly. I used to even worry more about Emily. About what a lonely life she had.
Yes, I remember when I first arrived here, she was just getting over that sickness.
Yes, but she wasn't physically sick. She was suffering from depression, severe depression. That's what happens to people when they lose someone they love. And she lost 2 people. And that's why one day I decided to do something about it, at least about one of them.
What do you mean, Doctor?
I mean, I tried to find Kirk Michaels again 9 years ago.
Did you?
I thought it was the only way to help Emily.
And you didn't find him?
No, I didn't. Would you get me some fresh coffee, Molly?
Oh, yes, Doctor, I'm sorry. I'll heat it up a bit.
No, I didn't find him.
Here you go, Doc.
You're really sure about this, Lieutenant?
One of the cops in that shootout was my partner, Bill Haggerty. He's retired now on a disability, thanks to your friend Kirk Michaels.
You said it was a payroll robbery.
Yeah. The money wasn't recovered, but at least they got one of them.
Death warrant, Kirk Michaels, age approximately 21, dark hair, blue eyes, killed during commission of crime, no relatives, buried 9/14/71. But now, I'm bringing you back to life again, Kirk.
Almost, but not. Nope, you never make champ that way.
Out of all the watering holes in Monticello, why did you have to pick this one?
I like it here. I feel very safe.
No wonder the police headquarters is across the street. I bet you half the patrons here are off-duty cops. As a matter of fact, I just saw 2 of our very old friends over there, Steve Guthrie and Calvin Stoner.
Do you have something against Monticello's finest?
Oh, no. But I fear they may have something against me.
Oh, relax. No one's going to come over here and read you your rights.
We would have done better to eat at a bar frequented by defense attorneys.
We have committed no crime.
It's not for want of trying, darling.
All you did was take a hot-to-trot spinster up for a cocktail. She loved you for it. You did her a favor.
Raven, that was the act of an accomplice.
You weren't involved, so stop complaining.
This is going to be the last you're going to hear from me about this because I don't intend getting involved again.
Really?
Yes, Raven, I intend to walk the straight and narrow from now on. I'm sorry, darling. As much as I'd like to see you happy, I have to draw the line somewhere.
And you're drawing the line right now?
Yes. I do not intend helping you to kidnap your baby.
No, you don't. That's okay. I'll do it myself.
So he started to climb right out of the hole. That's right, just like that. He pulled with his front paws, that's his front paw, and he pushed with his back paw,
That's his back paw. And in a little while, his nose, that's it, he was climbing. So with a nod of thanks to his friends, he went on with his walk through the forest, humming proudly to himself. But Christopher Robin looked after him lovingly, and he said, "Silly old bear, just like you. Silly old bear. Well, into the bed, and good luck to all of us. You won't be able to get away with this tomorrow night, you know, because your babysitter then is going to be a cop. You have to behave yourself. Won't get away with pushing him around like you do your old dad."
Logan.
Yeah.
I have to admit I'm having certain reservations about all this.
Why?
Well, I'm not at all sure that hiring an ex-policewoman to take care of Jamie is the wisest thing.
Well, seems like a practical solution.
Oh, I realize the necessity of keeping a watchful eye on him, but turning the nursery into an armed camp could cause more problems than it solves.
Can't think of anything else to do, can you?
I don't think we're creating an atmosphere that's very conducive to raising a child.
A lot better than the atmosphere Raven would give him.
Heaven knows that's true enough.
Yeah. We just got to keep her from getting her hooks into him, Geraldine. If that means an armed nurse, well, that's okay. I didn't mean that literally. Mrs. Cobb is an ex-cop. Well, look at you, yeah. But she's also a mama and a grandmother. We ought to give her a chance. She'll be just fine. That's probably her. I'll get it.
Logan.
Oh, hi, Deborah.
Hi.
Come, please, come in.
Geraldine.
How lovely to see you.
Well, where's Mrs. Cobb? You come in separate cars or what?
Mrs. Cobb called me an hour ago from Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh?
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh. That's great. That's terrific. Was she about ready to get on a plane? Because if not, there's not much chance of her joining us
Well,
this evening, is
she
there?
just called me from the airport, but she just arrived. It seems that her sister took sick, and so she's got to go help run that household.
Well, then when does she plan to return?
Not for a couple of weeks, at least. So, well, she said she's very interested in the job, and she wants to talk to you about it when she gets back.
Well, it's all well and good. I don't know what we're going to do in the meantime.
Well, I happen to know somebody who's interested in the job, and she's available immediately.
Well, that's wonderful. It's a shame you couldn't have brought her with you tonight.
She's right here.
Deborah? You mean you?
Of course, why not? I want to do everything I can to help make sure that Jamie stays where he belongs. I haven't had much experience with babies, but hopefully the experience will be a good one for both of us.
When can you start?
Well, now, wait, just a minute, Logan.
Is
just
there a problem?
Oh, Deborah, surely you must know that there's no one I'd put more trust in than you. But it seems to me you'd be taking on a rather heavy burden.
Well, Logan keeps telling me what an angel Jamie is.
But you have such long, hard hours as it is. Are you sure you want to add this to an already full schedule?
Cops moonlight all the time, and I would give you any minute I had.
Geraldine's got a point there, though. I mean, your schedule fluctuates, mine does, so does hers now. We need somebody that can look after Jamie full time.
Well, I've got it all figured out, Logan. More often than not, when I'm working, either Steve or Calvin is off, so they can cover for me at headquarters, or here if necessary.
Steve and Calvin.
Mm-hmm.
The Monticello Detective and Babysitting Squad, perpetrators apprehended and diapers changed. This I've got to see.
Well, I think it's very kind of Steve and Calvin to volunteer.
Well, I wouldn't call them up just yet and thank them, though.
Why not?
Because I haven't told them that they volunteered.
I have so many great big darts in that itty-bitty bullseye. I just don't think there's room for any more. I'm afraid I'm the champ, and you get to buy dinner.
All right. Hey, Hal, bring me the check. Here's two.
Got it.
Well. Look who's here. Here, keep it.
Thanks a lot.
I think I have a bone to pick.
Well, isn't two of the beautiful people of Monticello?
Ah, Detectives Guthrie and Stoner. How thoughtful of you to stop by.
Elliot? Ah, Mrs. Swift.
Ah, detectives.
Kind of surprised to see you in a place like this. I mean, it's sort of a police hangout.
Well, we thought we'd come see how the other half lives.
Nice to see you. Come on.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought maybe I'd stay and talk with my friends.
Yeah, well, I'll see you in a minute.
Elliot saw you come in, but we didn't want to go over there and ruin your little dart game.
Never a dull moment in your life, is it, Raven?
I don't know that my life is any of your business.
Lady, when your antics start affecting my friends, it becomes my business.
What do you mean?
Logan told me about your visit to Jamie last night. Don't you know there are laws against kidnapping?
It was a social club.
Raven, tell me, how in the world did you convince that nurse to take a powder and leave you alone with Jamie?
I told Logan. When I got to the apartment, the door was open. The woman was obviously irresponsible. I hope he fired her.
Raven, you were halfway out that door with Jamie when Logan came home. You don't know how lucky you are. He didn't have to work late.
Officer, what is the purpose of this interrogation?
Do you have something to add to the conversation? I mean, did you have a hand in this?
I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about.
Then butt out.
Detective, for your information, I have more rights to Jamie than Logan does. And I really don't care to discuss this any further.
You know, Logan, for the life of him, can't figure out why you want Jamie.
The ice in my drink seems to be melting.
Raven, why don't you get off his case? Losing Draper was hard enough on him. He doesn't need you.
You sent Draper to jail. So I guess we share in the responsibility for Logan's misery.
I'm sorry, what?
Tell me something, Detective Guthrie. I'm curious. How does it feel to be instrumental in Draper Scott's death? No, it's true. You were the arresting officer, right?
You don't know what you're talking about.
Why don't we all just take a deep breath and count to 10?
No, honestly. It seems as if they're trying to set some kind of record for solving a murder case. The way they arrested Draper before all the facts were in.
What are you saying? Are you suggesting that we enjoyed arresting Draper?
Draper happened to be one of our very best friends.
Oh, really? Well, with friends like you. I mean, why didn't you believe Draper when he said he was innocent? All his real friends knew that he couldn't possibly have murdered his mother.
Now, just hold on a minute. Even after the conviction was in, it was us who busted our backs to try and prove him innocent. Now, doesn't that mean anything to you?
Oh, sure. Means that you obviously felt guilty about taking Draper away from April and Julia.
Yeah, talking to her is like talking to a brick wall.
Why do you want to press the point, Raven?
Because I feel like an injustice has been done to Draper Scott by these people.
Look, lady, let me tell you something.
Hold it. I think I just saw the chief come in, and that's our cue. You two have a pleasant evening.
Touching, aren't you?
Oh, Chief.
Hey, Steve.
Doc.
Hey, Chief. Dr. Kavanaugh. Don't have the chili burger.
Listen, Derek, I got an awful lot of work to do. I really ought to be getting back to the lab.
Hey, remember me? I'm the guy who assigned that work to you. You can wait a half an hour.
You're the chief.
I get the impression you'd rather be other places.
Well, a little surprised you invited me out for this friendly drink.
Well, I had a little more in mind than simply shooting the breeze, Miles.
What exactly?
I thought it'd be good for us to sit down, nice and quietly with a drink, and talk about the way things are.
Regarding what?
First of all, I'd like to know how you've been feeling.
What is a sudden interest in my health?
It's not a sudden interest. I want to know if those amphetamines have worked themselves out of your system.
Just about. Why? Has my work been up to par? You about to tell me to shape up or ship out, something like that?
On the contrary, I'm very pleased that you decided to come back and give us a hand in the forensics division. I value your work very highly.
That's good to hear.
That doesn't mean I think everything's copacetic. You must be as aware of the tension between us as I am.
I hadn't given much thought to our relationship, to tell you the truth.
Well, maybe you should.
Why?
Because I'm finding it increasingly difficult to deal with you giving me the cold shoulder all the time.
You see, I wasn't aware that co-workers had to be buddies.
Miles, I was hoping that once those drugs worked themselves out of your system, that you'd be back to the old friendly guy that you used to be, but if anything, you become even more hostile towards me, and damn it, that aggravates me.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings.
Well, Miles, I just think that you've given me a bad shake. If you listen to me, I want to straighten things out.
Well, you ordered the drinks.
You're not a captive audience.
Look, you want to know something? Do you want to know when I'll feel a lot better about you?
When?
It's when I discover that you are interested in some nice young woman who does not happen to be my wife.
Miles, I've had to deal with a great many changes in my life in a short period of time. So I decided that socializing had to take a low priority, at least until I got things straightened out.
Yeah, well, you've managed to socialize a little bit with my wife, haven't you?
And all of those were business-related meetings. Miles, I spend almost all of my time in my office trying to prove that I deserve this job. I don't have much extra time for socializing.
All work and no play, is that it?
Miles, my marriage and my subsequent divorce, they weren't very pleasant experiences. I wasn't very good at the dating game before I met Ivy. I'm not very good at it now.
Well, I'm sure if Nicole were available, you'd get yourself back into the scene very quickly.
I am not interested in your wife. Now, what do I have to do to convince you of that? We've never been rivals. I've never tried to take Nicole away from you. Not that I even could if I wanted to. She loves only one man, and that's you. She loves you very much, so why don't you stop being so damned insecure and jealous?
You telling me you don't have any interest at all in my wife?
Only as a friend. I think Nicole is a lovely woman, and when she walks down the street, she turns a lot of heads, not just mine.
Yeah, what, really? What do you think I ought to do, lock her away in a tower?
I think you ought to trust her.
That's fine, but do I trust you?
I'm not going to stop admiring her. That's any man's privilege.
I guess that's true.
But I promise you, Miles, it's only from afar.
Well. Look who's here. What is it, the boys' night out?
Mrs. Swift, how are you?
Derek, I told you to call me Raven. Hi, Doctor. Well, I saw these two handsome men walk in, and I just had to come over and say hello. I hope I'm not interrupting anything terribly important. I'm with a friend, actually, but I wanted to come over here and ask you how April was.
Well, she's beginning to bounce back.
She's staying with you and Nicole, isn't she?
No, actually, right now she's with the Cars.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I'll have to call her tomorrow. I want to do everything I can to cheer her up a little.
That's very sweet of you.
You know what? I've been a very naughty girl. I remember the last time we talked, I promised to have a chat with you, and I've been so busy.
No, you don't need to apologize. I haven't had much free time myself.
Oh, have you found the girl of your dreams?
No, I've had my hands full at the office.
Would you like to go out tomorrow night?
That was sudden. I really don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, come on. I'm giving a dinner party, and I need another bachelor to sort of round out the group, and I would like someone attractive like you.
I'm very flattered at the offer. I'll have to get back to you.
Oh, come on, Derek. You should circulate. I promise you, you'll have a good time.
I'll make time. Yes, I'd be glad to.
Terrific. Wonderful. I'll call you tomorrow and to tell you the time and the place.
Thank you very much.
And in case you're wondering, I'm not going to stick you with some old frump. The extra man is for me. Bye, Doctor. Okay, Geraldine, so as soon as the schedule comes out for next week, I'll look at it and give you a call. We'll work something out.
Deborah, I can't tell you how much we appreciate what you're doing.
That's for sure. Here, I'll get the door for you. Okay, you drive carefully now. We're counting on you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again. Bye-bye. Well, what do you think of our security force, huh?
Actually, I'm very pleased.
Yeah, it's, I gotta admit, it's a lot nicer than trusting Jamie to a stranger.
It seems to me that between Deborah, Calvin, and Steve, we're going to have to give some basic lessons in baby care. But I have an idea they'll learn very quickly.
Yeah. I think Deborah's going to be very good for Jamie, and vice versa.
Yes, they did seem to take an instant liking to each other.
Jamie, you know him. He gets along well with everyone, except his mother. He has very good taste.
I think it's absolutely absurd that we have to use these safety measures, that we have to protect that child from his own mother.
An ounce of prevention.
Raven has been thwarted twice now. I just hope she has sense enough not to try again.
Not much hope of that. Not much hope at all. Whatever game Raven's playing, you know she's playing to win.
Yeah. Hiring someone to guard Jamie, it can't last forever. That's no way to raise a child.
No, I don't like it any more than you do, and it's not going to last any longer than necessary, I promise you that.
That's why it is absolutely essential that those adoption proceedings begin at once.
Wheels are in motion.
You must establish paternity, Logan, so that if Raven institutes any kind of custody suit, you will be in a much more favorable position.
Well, I'll give Draper a call first thing. I'll call my car first thing tomorrow morning and
Logan,
see. It's all right. I'll get used to it. Say goodnight to Jamie. The deal was, I read you the story and you went to sleep. Can't trust anybody these days. Yeah, well, this is the last night. No more Winnie the Pooh for you. Tomorrow night you're going to have to listen to Once Upon a Time on the Narcotics Squad. I'm warning you, though. I'm warning you. You be nice to Deborah. You got a lot more experience being a baby than she does being a babysitter, and that is for sure. And you get tough with her like you do with me, and she'll just haul you up in front of a judge. Yeah, phew. Lawyer humor. I don't blame you for not liking it. It gets worse when you get older. Squirmer? You little squirmer. Yeah. You gotta be nice for Deborah, though. You gotta promise me that, because she's a nice lady. She's helping us out a lot. Yes. Yes. She's gonna see that we get to stay together, you and I. She's gonna help us out. I'm gonna rest a lot easier knowing that she's here. It's you and me, Jamie. You and me. You want to go back in there? All right. Anything you want. Anything, anytime. All right, here we go.
Well, I'm back.
How long?
What do you mean by that?
I thought we were to spend the evening together.
Oh, poor Elliot. Were you left out?
You've become quite the social butterfly, haven't you? Hopping from table to table.
Well, I saw some friends and I had to go say hello. That's one of the prices I pay for being so popular.
Oh, yes. I wasn't aware you knew the chief of police.
Well, there's a lot of things you don't know about me, but I like it that way.
What could you possibly have to talk to him about?
Things.
Thank you for elucidating.
You know something? I'm very happy that we came here because I'm beginning to see who my friends really are.
Really?
Yes, you're not overly anxious to help me get what I want.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because the chief of police just may be very happy to cooperate.
You're dreaming, Raven.
Let's go. By the way, Elliot, about dinner tomorrow night.
Yes, where would you like me to make reservation?
Don't bother. I won't be able to make it.
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find. Always on our mind. And frustrated days pass without sight. The edge of night, half dark, half light, as we watch our hearts trying to hold the tenderness that we once had, halfway glad, halfway sad. The edge of night, half dark, we might wake up someday.
Well, I hope he likes fish.
Nancy, Cliff Nelson is a bachelor. I'm sure he'll appreciate anything you cook.
Now, how many more minutes before he gets here, honey?
Well, he should be here in about 15 minutes.
Nancy, can I give you a hand with anything?
Oh, Ava, I didn't think you were going to join us.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I owe the two of you an apology for this morning. I think I just needed a release for all the tensions that have been building up inside me. And when I heard Cliff Nelson's name, I thought back to the trial, and I guess I lost my head a little bit, and I'm very sorry.
We understand, Ava. Dear, I hope you understand Mike's position in this. Look, if you are going to be uncomfortable with Cliff here, then I'd be happy to fix a tray for you.
Thank you, but really that's unnecessary.
You sure, April?
I will be on my best behavior, word of honor, and all that.
We just don't want you to be upset.
Nancy, I just realized that, well, my reaction this morning to Cliff Nelson was very unwarranted. A lot of Draper's friends played a part in what's happened, and I don't hate any of them, so it's kind of unfair of me to take out all my resentment on Cliff Nelson just because of what's happened.
Well, if it helps matters any, April, I'm sure Cliff Nelson got no satisfaction from prosecuting Draper.
Okay. So let's concentrate now on having a pleasant evening.
No, it's the truth. When I saw everyone else getting crew cuts for the summer, well, I thought Bowser should have one, too. Well, nobody ever told me that a sheepdog likes to be that way all year round.
You sound like a real spoiled little brat.
Oh, no. Well, I was a little monster. But wait till I tell you the time that I set fire to the clothesline.
What?
We were visiting my cousin in Chicago, and she lived in this 5-story house, you know, with a little yard out in back. Well, we found some cardboard crates, and we decided to set fire to them. I don't know why.
Or maybe you wanted the world's biggest marshmallow roaster.
Oh, I don't remember. I was only 7 years old. But, well, before we knew it, the flames got bigger and higher than we had expected, and they caught fire to the clothesline above our heads.
No.
Oh, and it gets worse. And then the second one caught fire, and then the third clothesline, and then the fourth. And before we knew it, we had burned up the laundry of 5 families. My mother always called it the Great Chicago Fire.
Did she punish you for it?
No. She was really wonderful about it.
She sounds like a good lady. Wish I could remember her.
You know, when I was growing up, our house was always filled with stray animals of one kind or another. You were the first human one, though.
I think she would have been better off sticking to real animals.
You know, I remember this raccoon that she brought home once. She had such a hard time convincing Daddy it wasn't a skunk. Well, this poor little thing had his leg caught in a hunter's trap, and he was really frightened. But Mother gave him so much loving care. You know, when he got well, he bit her.
Sounds like me.
I don't understand.
Well, 10 years ago, I came to this house, just like that raccoon. I bit the hand that fed me.
What happened wasn't your fault, Kirk. No, I remember you back then. You were sweet, and you were kind, and you were wonderful. And that's why I fell in love with you.
Emily, I stole from your family.
But you did that for me. You did it for us.
It was still wrong.
No, it was your concern over our future that made you borrow the money from the safe. It was only a loan.
Emily, it wasn't a loan. I mean, loans get paid back. I never did that with this.
But I'm sure you meant to. It was just that things happened.
Oh, right. I'm a real terrific guy, Emily. Because I was worried about being arrested for a crime I just committed, I left my brand new bride of 5 minutes stranded at the altar.
Well, considering your past history, it was certainly very reasonable for you to think that policeman was there to arrest you.
But I kept on running.
Look, I don't want to talk about the past anymore. The past is over, and it's done with. I want to talk about something much more pleasant. Like our future together.
You're right. You since I don't have any old memories. Maybe we should start building some new ones.
Yes?
Oh, I'm sorry to bother you. Molly sent me up here to relay an urgent message.
Oh, what's the matter?
Well, Molly said that if you're going to take over her kitchen like you did this afternoon, you should at least have the courtesy not to walk out before your business is finished because something is burning.
Oh, no, I forgot about the surprise. Excuse me.
Cliff, you shouldn't have candy and flowers and wine. What a lovely gesture.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Carr. You see, the candy is because you were so fair in the newspaper article that you wrote, and the flowers are because you're so beautiful, and the wine is for dinner, too. You see, it's my favorite. The guy at the store said that November was a very, very good month.
Glad you could accept our invitation, Cliff.
Well, wild horses wouldn't have kept me from being here. It'd be nice to hear some good dinner conversation instead of the sound of my own mouth chewing.
About your friends, I'm sure you have some friends, Mr. Nelson.
Call me Cliff. You know, be nice to hear my own name again instead of the name some people have been calling me these days.
I have a feeling you're exaggerating, Cliff.
I'm not exaggerating at all, Mr. Clark. I mean, ever since a certain case was settled, I've fallen out of the good graces of a lot of people in this town.
It's all right, you can talk about Draper's case.
Mrs. Scott, I want you to know that if I knew you were going to be here, I wouldn't have come.
Why should that have any bearing?
I wanted to tell you how badly I felt about, well, not writing you or calling you because I felt so bad. I just thought you hated me so much that you wouldn't want to hear from me.
You were just doing your job, I realize that.
That's exactly right. I didn't want to prosecute Draper. You see, Logan made me do it. He could have had his choice of assistant district attorneys. I mean, they were lined up outside this door. Boy, there was so much evidence against Draper. He was as guilty as sin. But see, I didn't believe that.
You made a very effective presentation.
Well, all Cliff did was what a prosecutor should do, April. Organize the evidence collected by the police.
Yes, if the police would have worked faster, Draper Scott would be here having his dinner instead of me. Did I say something wrong?
Would you like some more wine, Cliff?
Oh, no, thank you. You see, you have to understand my point of view. If I wasn't such a good lawyer, Draper Scott would be here tonight, alive.
Darling, may I have a drink, please?
Of course, Nancy.
Maybe I should sit down and be quiet, huh?
Cliff, when we last talked, you were saying something about changing the direction of your career.
Well, you can't stay in one place all the time, you know. You got to move on.
The district attorney's office is usually a stepping stone for a lot of young lawyers.
Listen, have you given any thought at all to what type of law you'd like to practice?
Well, I thought it might be interesting to see what life was like on the other side of the courtroom.
You mean you'd like to stay in criminal law, but be on the defense side?
Well, yes, that way I could choose my own cases. So I could fight for clients and causes that I believe in, and well, I could make a good buck, too.
Sounds like you've already decided to leave.
Well, there's a letter of resignation in my desk right now, Mr. Carr. All it needs is a date and a signature.
And you're just waiting for the right offer to come along, then, hmm?
Mrs. Carr, I would turn in that resignation tomorrow if I could work as Mike's partner.
Excuse me. Dinner's ready. Would you like to come in?
Oh, thank you, Nancy. Cliff? You realize before I bring anyone into my office, I'm going to have to check their qualifications very carefully.
Oh, of course. I'm just happy to know I have the inside track.
Well, working as a prosecutor is quite helpful to any defense attorney.
Draper used to work in the DA's office, you know.
That's where he got his start, as a matter of fact, and he did excellent work there, too.
I didn't know that. That's probably why he was so good. You're dealing with the same statutes. If there's one thing I know, it's my criminal law. Of course, I would never be as good as Draper. I mean, that's a very hard act to follow. To follow in his shoes, he must have been a size 12. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'll just have to do the best I can, I guess.
What I'm looking for right now, Cliff, is an employee. The promise of a partnership will have to wait until that person gets a chance to prove himself.
Oh, of course. I just would like to work in your office. I'd learn a lot just hanging around.
You seem to be quite a fan of Mike's.
No secret that he's the best lawyer in Monticello, Mrs. Carr. Probably the state. Probably one of the 10 best in the country.
What I like about you most, Cliff, is your objectivity.
Thank you.
What about Logan? What is he ever going to do without you?
I'm not going to worry about Logan. He can take care of himself.
I thought you were his second man, you know.
I know he thinks very highly of you.
That's because I have such a high rate of convictions, and it looks good for him.
Well, that reflects upon you, too.
Well, maybe, but if he does appreciate my ability, which I'm not too sure he does, there's nowhere for me to go in that office. You see, the only thing I can do now is to challenge the man himself in that big leather chair. I gotta get out on my own and make a name for myself.
Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
That's a very interesting question. See, now you're talking about dreams. Let's see. 10 years from now. It'd be too early to be in the Supreme Court. Although, you may be there, Mike. Let's see, 10 years from now. I'd like to see myself sort of as one of those jet-set lawyers, you know, that you see in the movies. Flying off in a private plane, you know, to see famous people. Very elegant, you know, and sophisticated. In parties, chic discos, very White House state dinners, things like that. A lot of savoir-faire, you know.
Cliff, may I have the rolls, please?
Oh, of course, Mrs. Carr. I'd like to see myself in control.
Thank you.
Oh, my! I'm sorry.
That's all
Listen,
right.
let me get this up.
No.
Oh, that's hot. Do you have any towels in the kitchen?
Yes,
I'll go get some.
Dinner's going to be ready in about 10 minutes. And I thought we could beat the hunger pains with a little bit of white wine. And some conversation.
All right, it's fine with me.
Well, my day's only about half over. Still got the 11 o'clock news to do. Why don't you tell me about your 12-hour shift? Huh?
Oh, it's pretty routine. Hospital rounds, office hours, a little extra time in the police lab.
Oh, bet you saved half a dozen lives today and you're just too modest to tell me.
On second thought, maybe I shouldn't have this wine.
You on the wagon?
Oh, no, it's just that I already had a pre-dinner drink. Matter of fact, that was the only unusual part of the day.
Oh, well, you told me that Dr. Fisher likes to have a snifter of brandy after work.
No. It was our esteemed chief of police who invited me out for a drink.
You had a drink with Derek?
Yeah. It's very friendly.
Oh. Well, did you talk about anything in particular?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we did. Talked about you. No, you see, he thinks I've been giving him the cold shoulder because of our misunderstanding.
Well, that's what it was. It was a misunderstanding on your part. There wasn't any reason for you to be cold to him.
I didn't think I had been. I think he's becoming the sensitive type, that's all.
What happened?
Nothing. He just wanted to set the record straight so we could get back on the same old footing as before.
Well, did you work things out?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't bear him any ill will.
Glad to hear it.
I'm certainly not going to worry about him making any more passes at my wife.
I wish you wouldn't say things like that.
Why would I say?
There can't be any more passes because there weren't any passes to start with.
Come on now. Anyway, he and I agreed to drop the subject, so let's you and I drop it too, okay?
Listen, I would be happy if I never had to hear about it again.
You may not have to, as a matter of fact. There may be somebody new in Derek's life.
Oh, really?
As we were talking, Raven Swift came over, interrupted the conversation long enough to invite him to a dinner party tomorrow night.
Oh, he knows Raven?
I guess so. Anyway, the way they were looking at each other made me think maybe the town will have another hot item soon.
Well, I certainly hope you're wrong.
Why?
Well, the last person I'd want to see Derek get involved with would be Raven.
It's better than pining over a married woman, isn't it?
The only relationship that I'm worried about right now is ours. I miss having you with me.
I'm right here.
I mean, at night. Will you please come back to our bed tonight?
Be ashamed to come back now.
What do you mean?
Well, after all, April did move over to Mike and Nancy so I could have the use of the guest room.
It's not funny.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I still don't understand why you decided that we should be sleeping apart.
I told you why. It's because you were tossing and turning half of the night. I just thought it might do some good, that's all.
How can you think you're doing me a favor? Ever since you decided to move into the guest room, I probably haven't slept 2 hours. Just lie in bed, and I stare at the ceiling, and I worry.
I'm sorry, I still think it's the best thing.
Why don't you want to sleep with me?
Oh, God, it's not that I don't want to.
I want you to come back. I want you back where you belong. With me.
We'll see. Later.
Chocolate all the way through. Used to be your favorite.
You baked that for me.
Well, I enjoy doing nice things for you, Kurt.
Looks and smells delicious.
Well, there's only one way we can find out. Now, if you decide that you want a second piece, or a third piece, or a fourth piece,
wait a second.
you just tell me.
It looks delicious. Let me. Tastes wonderful.
Well, wait until you're well enough to come down to the dining room. I'm going to fix you a dinner fit for a king.
Hey, I didn't know you cooked.
But you just don't remember. You know, when I was a little girl, my mother had a hard time keeping me out of the kitchen. I had dreams of becoming a famous chef in one of those gourmet restaurants in Paris or New York or London.
Why didn't you do it?
Well, I enjoyed cooking for you. After you left, I just sort of lost interest.
I see.
Well, Molly does all the cooking now. It really doesn't make much difference because Daddy's on a special diet, so I couldn't fix anything special anyway.
Why is he on a diet?
Well, Daddy had a heart attack about a year ago. But he's recovering now. If you ask him, he'll tell you he's just fine.
He's the doctor. He ought to know.
Well, I'm sure he's all right. Has to be all right. It's all I have. All I used to have.
Getting worse. If Emily only knew.
Here you go, Doc.
You're really sure about this, Lieutenant?
One of the cops in that shootout was my partner, Bill Haggerty. He's retired now on a disability, thanks to your friend Kirk Michaels.
You said it was a payroll robbery.
Yeah. The money wasn't recovered, but at least they got one of them.
Death warrant, Kirk Michaels, age approximately 21, dark hair, blue eyes, killed during commission of crime, no relatives, buried 9/14/71.
Daddy, can't you hear me?
Emily?
Daddy, how many times do I have to call you to get your attention?
Oh, I'm sorry, Angel. My mind was someplace else.
Are you sure you're all right?
No, of course.
You sure?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Really.
Can I tell you something, Daddy?
Of course, Angel.
I'm very happy.
That's no great secret.
It's because of Kirk.
I know.
It's been such a long time since I felt like this.
10 years.
No, it's not simply that I never forgot him, because as soon as I saw him again, all the old feelings came back to me. No, I never really stopped loving him.
Well, you never did make any attempt to put him out of your mind.
I know you thought that was wrong of me, but I was right in waiting. See, my feelings for Kirk have really grown. I love him more than ever now.